What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. And before I get this video going, I'd like to apologize for lack of posting. I know it probably feels like I don't post anything or probably gave up on this channel, but in reality I've been going through some things with these dang BMWs. So, you know, I apologize for that, and hopefully I'll get back to posting a little more. I like showing you guys what I do, showing you guys some tips and tricks, and then I like showing my enthusiasm for BMWs. But as you can see here, I'm inside my E70 X5. Most of you don't know, but I have an E70 X5 3.0 N52 2009, I believe. So as you can see here, the interior's kind of taken apart. So you're probably asking yourself, oh, why is your interior looking like this? You just got this car. Well, long story short, this is my 2007 E70 X5 extended leather dash, CIC retrofit, red push start, sports steering wheel retrofit, extended leather interior. Everything's looking good. M3 red gauges, or out of an X5M. I took the needles off whenever old job I had. The cluster was broken, so I took the needles. Basically, this thing's pretty decked out. And as you can see here, I took fried chicken, and it is completely taken apart, basically stripped. And the reason for that is I bought this with the N52. And I bought it because these engines are really some of the most reliable engines I've ever seen. I had my wife's old car, used to have 300,000 miles. I bought another one with 300,000 miles. They just keep going. They're reliable. They're easy to control, or I'm sorry, maintain. But they do have a bit of issues. They have the Vanos issues, which the Vanos bolts can sear. I know they can spin rods sometimes. And then they have little sensor issues. Like sometimes the eccentric shaft sensor goes out. Sometimes you have Valvetronic motor issues, but for the most part they're pretty reliable, so I really like to stick with them when I can, especially on a daily, especially since they're still pretty new. You know, with 2009 X5, it's not too old. I still like them. They still have some comfort features, heated seats, navigation, things like that, and you can retrofit things into them. So I basically bought this X5. I bought this for $2 grand. Blown engine did not start. Car was complete, clean title, 170,000 miles. I thought, you know what, $2 grand, that's cheap enough. My friend had an engine. We had tested it. It seemed to run good. I said, you know what, I have an engine. I'm going to buy this, put an engine in it. And that's what I did. I put a nice, fresh 120,000 mile N52 in here. I did the oil pan gasket. I did the valve cover gasket. I put new belts on. I put a new water pump, new thermostat, new oil filter housing gasket, new spark plugs, new AC, a new alternator with alternator pulley. I should say the alternator worked fine, just the pulley gave out. Everything's basically refreshed. The bottom end's leak free. Everything's clean. Put it back together. Thought, great, beautiful engine, beautiful car. I'm gonna get this thing running for like 2,500 bucks. Put it in, started it up, drove fine for a few days. Then I had the dreaded Vanos faults. I had some Vanos faults, and I checked, and the oil I pulled out was dark, but I didn't see any metal shavings. The new oil I put in, it was clear. I checked it, everything. Then I kept driving it for a couple of days, and then it started knocking. So I blew something somehow. I'm not sure. It has a lot of metal shavings in it now. The oil was like gray. I don't know if you could tell. I don't know what I did exactly wrong. I don't think I personally did anything wrong. I timed it. I made sure I had oil pressure before I started it. And it ended up not working out. So I thought, you know what? I'm not gonna give up. I'm gonna get a third engine. I'm gonna get one with warranty. I'm gonna get it in there, pay as much as I need to pay just to get this thing going, you know, because this is gonna be my wife's truck. And you guys saw the extended leather interior and dash. I bought it for cheap, put it in there. The CIC retrofit, I put it in there. The steering wheel, I put it in there. I did all the maintenance. I put new tires on it and things like that. So I had intentions of completely fixing this before I ended up finding something else. And as you can see here, this is my original X5 2009. And the other thing I ended up finding was a 2011 or 12 X5, which has obviously the N55 from, you know, the F30 and E92 N55. So you'll see the condition I bought this. I'll put a clip in right here. So as you can see, this whole fender was messed up. The headlight was gone. A little bit of, like, I guess you can call them buckles in the, not buckles, like a little dent in the frame rail, but nothing serious, no bent. Nothing was bent, nothing was damaged. Everything fit right on. So I thought, you know what, I bought that one for 1,500 bucks. Very minimal damage. And so when I went to go look at this car, I thought I'm gonna buy it to part it out or take parts off of it. But I ended up getting there. The damage wasn't very bad. Everything was just like, cosmetic, nothing structural was damaged. And then I put battery to this and it started, so I thought, you know what, let me go and fix this car instead, because it's 2012. I'll fix this one. I have a LCI rear end instead of this pre-LCI, and I thought, let me fix this one, get it going, and I can either sell this one or keep it and then part out the other one, because I got this one so cheap that I can get my money back from this one. So that's what I did. As you can see, I have the old style wheels. Those are the new style wheels, the old style wheel. This one is actually the front one, this OEM wheel. They came on it, the LCI wheels. One of them was really bent, the one that was on this side. So I replaced the whole control arms, all the control arms from this car. I put the fender, the headlights, the hood, and now this thing is a running and driving vehicle until I came across this thing. So this is an N55. I don't know if any of you have N55s out there. I'm sure most of you do, because it's a pretty common engine now, especially since the N52s are getting older. But I'm not a big fan of the N55. They have a lot of valvetronic issues. They have issues with the actuator here. They have misfire issues. They have injector issues. They have bottom end issues. The typical oil leaks from BMW's oil pan. And then these sensors like to leak too, the oil pressure sensor. So today is like the first day I decided to drive this thing. I fixed it all. I got the front end going. I got the suspension fixed. I put all the old tires on there, all the old rims with the good tires. And I took it for the first drive, and we have faults. The faults we have are low oil pressure and oil pressure static, I think it said. So unfortunately it does have low oil pressure faults. If it's the oil pump, I'm gonna figure it out. I don't think it's worth me just doing the oil pump immediately, only because I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna do it on this, you know, $1,500 car. I'm not gonna go down there and do the oil pump and have the bearings already be kind of scored or damaged. And at the same time, this thing does run fine. I can start it right now, it'll run fine. So I'm gonna go out on a limb and hope that it's something to do with the sensor or aftermarket oil filter or something along the Vanos units, because I was reading somewhere how, because it has an exhaust Vanos fault, so it's possible that it could be getting stuck and causing low oil pressure. I'm not sure at this point. I'm kind of over this car already. I've had it for a week, and you know, I've had this one for a few months, but you know, it's only ran for a part of its life, so I'm not sure what to do. I have two broken X5s now, and I'm kind of getting frustrated with these dang BMWs. They're letting me down lately, even though I'm taking the time and the effort to do things right. You know, I do preventative maintenance, good maintenance, engine swaps, and they're still just, I don't want to say it's me, but it might just be me. I might just be a crappy mechanic, but we'll go down that route another day. That being said, what we're going to try to do right now is we're going to try to change the oil pressure switch, and then also install these low mileage, these have like 50,000 miles Vanos units on this car, because this car has like 150,000 miles, a little high, but I actually would prefer that, because I've seen lower mileage engines blow a lot sooner. So I figured at 150,000 miles, this N55's held up pretty long. It should keep going, because I have a 170,000 mile N55 in my F30, and that thing was great. So I figured we'll try this real quick. We'll do the oil change, we'll do the sensor, and then also they previously did the oil change with OW40, I believe, which is like they call it a European blend. I don't trust that. This thing calls for 5W30, so that's what I'm gonna use. So I'm gonna try those things. If this thing fails, I think I'm gonna scrap both of these projects, part both of them out, just get rid of it, get another 328 M52, which I've been saying for a very long time. That's like the best BMW you could buy right now, because they're cheap, rock solid, and the parts are inexpensive to either keep them maintained or repair them. So BMW let me down. So that's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna change the oil, check to see if it has aftermarket oil filter, which I'm assuming it does, because they went to like a quick lube place last time. They did do them every 5,000 miles, thankfully. She has like receipts from like 135, 140, 145, 150, which is what it has right now. So hopefully I should be able to repair these. Look into there, should have aftermarket filter. If I'm lucky, best case scenario, has a horrible aftermarket filter with either a broken, you know, oil filter cage, or possibly they forgot to replace an O-ring or install an O-ring, you know, that little bottom one. So if I get lucky like that, I'll be very, very happy. And I might not hate N55s that much, but if it doesn't fix the issue, I think I'm for sure going to sell the F30 project and just get rid of N55s completely in my life. Because I don't know if you guys know this, but in the last couple of months, I replaced like 3 N55s for friends. So it's like, you can't tell me that these things don't break. Or you can't tell me that the M55 is the reliable one. Like, no, I'd rather have an M54 that gives me misfire faults and, you know, walnut blasting, stuff like that, rather than needing a whole $3,000 engine, which that's on the cheap side, or a bottom end rebuild and things like that. So I'm just ranting at this point. So let me get to replacing some of these things. All right, now I'm gonna go ahead and remove the oil filter and hope for a damaged cage or an aftermarket shriveled up filter. One or the other. Please be one or the other. Okay, good news. As you can see here, we have a crappy, made, not because it's Korean, but just because it's made in Korea, so it's not German. We need German on this car. Oil filter without the cage. You see the cage missing there? That is one important piece that we need. So here is a oil cap I have from a previous. I think I did when I did the last N55 engine I did. They had a non-oil cooling oil filter housing, and I had to put the oil cooling back on, so I had a spare one. So here, as you can see here, we have this cage here, and this I'm not sure what it does exactly. I'm not really technical about it, but this has something to do with oil pressure, so you need this. And then also the filters themselves. You see the size difference? Can you see that? That is a very big indicator that could be part of our issue, because this is all the way pushed down and this one's all the way pushed down. So this filter is tiny, and it can cause flow issues, and especially with that thing. So I'm a little optimistic. I'm really hoping that this like 50 bucks I spent on the sensor and the filter is going to be our saving grace, because I do not want, I'm not gonna do an N55 on the X5. It's not an option at this point, especially since I'm so much into these two stupid trucks. So one thing that I'm confused about is, look at these two. So these, if we line these up perfectly there, as you can see here, the cups themselves, I don't know if you can see that, are the exact same size, right? But the filter is sticking out a lot less. Do you see that? Right? I'm not tripping, right? You see how one's taller than the other? But when you set them down, they're almost the exact same height. I don't know if you can tell. So I'm kind of confused on that. They're kind of the exact same height, so I don't know why it's doing that, but I can assume that it has some sort of, it can cause some sort of issue. So just the more we know, I guess. All right, and that says BMW, which is going to a BMW car, and that says Korea, which should probably go in a Korean car. So that being said, this is complete. You can see the O-ring here. You're gonna lube it up a little bit. I'll put some around the other O-ring as well. So this is looking very good. I'm really optimistic now. But as you guys know, BMWs, you can think something's going right, and they'll prove you wrong. So I'm gonna go ahead and lube this oil ring up, put it in there, and do the oil pressure sensor next. So here's the other issue with N55s. This oil level sensor, or oil pressure sensor, likes to go bad. And as you can see here, it is soaked in oil, and that's from the inside. The inside, so for some reason it leaks, and you get oil in there, and you get faults, and you get issues. So now I have a brand new sensor here, fresh OEM sensor. So I'm gonna swap that in there, clean that connector, and that'll hopefully wean out some of the issues that we're having. All right, so here we got both sensors here. You see the new one and the old one. I figured I'd show you guys what goes on. You see how clean and nice and clean that one is in there? You see how oiled up that one is? They just, for some reason, they leak eternally, and it causes the pins to get all wet, and you get weird mixed signal / signs. So this could also be the issue, but I'm really aiming towards a new filter and cup. So that's that. And I'm gonna install this new one in, keep my fingers crossed, change the oil, and we'll be good to go to test drive at least. All right, and then the last clip you guys saw, we put the new oil filter in, we put the new oil pressure sensor in, and we found obviously that cage was missing from the oil filter. So good news is that fixed it. No more check engine light, engine runs smooth. There's no other check engine light at all. I've been driving this thing for a week, no issues there. So that fixed the issue. So if you have an N55, you get low oil pressure faults, don't panic like I did. I thought my N55 was done, and look into the oil filter, basically the oil cage, and then make sure you don't have an aftermarket filter. And I highly recommend you don't go to any aftermarket like oil change place. I mean, BMW has like a service right now. It's like 200 bucks, and they give you like 3 or 4 oil changes for like 200 bucks. So it's a pretty good deal. You could do that. You could use OEM oil filters, because these engines cannot survive on low oil pressure. This thing, I don't know how long it went like that. It might have been just since the last oil change, or it might have been because the car sat for so long, so the oil filter sunk in. I have no idea what it was, but regardless, this is an M55, so I'm gonna be smart about it. I'm gonna go, you know, a month or two hopefully without blowing it up, and then we're gonna do the rod bearings. So it kind of works. I'll be able to do the oil pan and do the rod bearings at the same time, and maybe do some other things under there. I don't know what else I could do. Maybe the water pump, since it's easy access. But yeah, that's what fixed it. The oil cage is my biggest assumption, and the oil filter, actually the oil filter sensor, because it was oil soaked. So with the filter and the sensor, that fixed our low oil pressure issues. God bless. So now we have a running E70 X5 with no check engine light, just the low fuel light, because it's California, so I don't want to put any in there, and then the tire pressure sensor light, because I switched the rims from both X5s. These do not want to connect with the current system in this car, so it is what it is. But as you can see here, a little bit of a sneak peek. We got the Sport steering, not the Sport, the Sport steering wheel installed. I have that carbon piece, that trim piece wrapped in carbon. I got the carbon center dash piece wrapped, and we have our extended leather dash, which we bought a while ago for the other X5s, and extended leather center console. So this thing's coming out pretty sick, pretty quick, as long as it lasts me till like after Christmas, when I can afford to do the rod bearings and put it in my garage for a week. We'll do them. So
that didn't last long. N55 being an N55, I guess. So I guess in the next video I'll show you how to get an engine for your N55 that just blew up for cheap.